Hey there, this is Wake Angel 2001, and I'm sure by now you've seen the official rebuild video for Dr. Finitevus. Well, this is the official raffle announcement. Yeah, I just wanted to have it a separate video just to get rid of any disambiguation that my good old fully rebuilt Dr. Finitevus figure, which I will hold down here so he catches light from my little lamp, is officially up as the raffle prize for next month's Patreon. So all you gotta do is donate $10 to my Patreon raffle before the month ends, and you will get a chance to win him in the raffle. So yeah, that's Dr. Finitevus. I made him all the way back in 2009 the first time. From the first edition Knuckles figure that first came packaged with that translucent Sonic with the comic book pack way back when. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? And Jazzwares didn't quite get the tooling right. Later versions of Knuckles would come with their legs spread a little more so that his feet could get flatter on the ground, and so that it would balance better. So the original Knuckles figure had a hard time standing, and it didn't stand any better when I put Sonic's feet on it. But I've added heel spurs, so he stands nice and straight. And I was such an amateur making action figures back then. Like, aside from the fact that he used polymer clay, I actually sculpted up so far on his arm, his elbows couldn't bend anymore. And the same thing with his legs. He basically lost elbow and knee articulation. Not that he could stand anyway, I had to make a stand for him. It was, oh god, when I think about it, it was so amateurish. But what can I say? He was only the second figure that I ever made. I mean, I made like little clay figurines, like non-articulated minifigures, but this is the first proper action figure. Well, second proper action figure. My first one was my original Scourge figure, which is here with me, right next to me. It's in the packaging that I modified and had autographed by a bunch of artists and writers from the comic, so that's awesome. I don't know if I would do a rebuild on my first Scourge. I mean, it's not that since I've been keeping him in the packaging, he hasn't really fallen apart on me, but, he is a representative of my first effort, Like, flaws and all, he's kind of there as a reminder of where it began. But yeah, this is the second ever figure. My motivation to make Dr. Finitevus at the time was that back in 2009, Jazzwares hadn't made any of the villains in a 3-inch scale yet. The only bad guy they'd ever actually made at that point was Metal Sonic, and then only the 10-inch figure. It wouldn't be until quite a significant amount of time later that they would make the 2-pack of the Dr. Eggman and Metal Sonic figures for the 3-inch scale. How many bad guys did they end up making? Aside from the Badniks, no, they made quite a few of the Badniks, but I don't think any villainous characters got mainstream toys from Jazzwares aside from Dr. Eggman himself. Yeah, there's Dr. Eggman, and then there's Metal Sonic. Then there was a bunch of the Badniks, like the Iblis Spider, the Caterpillar thing, Motobug, the Egg Robo, the Egg Pawns, the blue guys. I don't know what egg that they are. Yeah. Aside from the pack-in Badniks, and then Metal Sonic and Eggman themselves, Jazzwares never really did make a lot of the villains, did they? So it was, well, I guess classic Metal Sonic counts as a distinct character. Barely. And I guess if you want, the Babylon Rogues can also count as bad guys, so let's call them bad guys. But yeah, that was basically it. I mean, everyone else was heroes. But yeah, the Sonic franchise in the video games doesn't really have that many distinct villains. I mean, I suppose you could have made Mephiles or Eraser Jin. Could have made some of the nightmare creatures from Unleashed. Sheesh. I'm really grasping at straws here, aren't I? I think by the time the Zeddy came around, Jazzwares was already letting the license wane, so we weren't going to see them. They could have made Eggman Nega, would have been a repaint of the Eggman figure. Well, what I was trying... Well, wow, I really went off on a massive tangent. Well, let's loop right back around. The reason I made him was because there were no bad guys at the time. The first things I ever made for, in custom action figure form were bad guys to interact with the good guys of my Sonic line. So, there we go. Dr. Finitevus was an Echidna. Knuckles was an Echidna. They basically had the same frame, so one could be made from the other. And that is why Dr. Finitevus was the second ever figure that I made. And now, you can have a chance to own him. Don't worry, he is completely rebuilt as you saw in the previous video. This is epoxy sculpt, it's super durable and is not going to break on you. The paints are much higher quality. They are this folk art stuff. It's really good stuff. It doesn't need a sealant, and it doesn't really peel. I mean, I suppose if you were really dedicated to it, you could scratch it off, but it's not going to peel off on its own. And yeah, everything on him has been super improved, and he should stand up to the test of time. Of course, like I should say, like any custom, it's designed for display purposes. If you try to seriously play with it, like it's some Fisher-Price toy you got off the preschool section, you're probably gonna break it. But for display purposes and for posing, maybe even for stop motion, it should hold up. In fact, I know it'll hold up for stop motion because one of the very few stop motions I ever made featured this figure. I think I've only made like 3 stop motions, and this was one of them. I will link to the stop motion videos in the description below in case you want to see some vintage Wake Angel 2001 stuff from back in the day. Alright, so yeah. Yeah, support me on Patreon, get a chance to win this guy. Look at my older videos, see how I was back then. Forgive the poor audio quality, I didn't have a good microphone back then. And I didn't even really have my HD camera yet. That was my picture-taking camera in video mode. Which I still have, because, you know, just because the videos it takes are grainy doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the pictures. Alright, this has probably gone on way longer than it needed to be, so, yeah. I better get back to working on this thing. So, this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.